Awangale ai Sabasajja. Good morning to you. It is the 33rd coronation of Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Mutebi. You are watching UBC TV. My name is Julie F. Nantaba with Robert Chirabo Nyonyi Ntono. Robert, good morning.
Good morning, Julie. Wasuzoti.
Nasuze bulungi sebo, wasuzoti asebo.
Ngambuganye essanyu. Olw'okuba olwaleero Ssaabasajja Kabaka wa Buganda, empologoma ya Buganda, Cuucu, Bemba, Nantawe Twamusota, aweza emyaka 33 ng'alamula Obuganda ng'atudde ku Namulondo y'abajjajja. Today marks 33 years of the Kabaka of Buganda on the throne of his great parents. 33 years ago, on such a day, Buganda was filled with untold joy. Streets leading to Budonagarabi. Hundreds, thousands of people filled these streets. I was a very young boy, but I remember my father carrying me on the shoulder, because you're on that road that goes to Nagarabi. Actually today, if you take Entebbe Road, before you reach Mardme, you know Mardme?
Yes.
You see something written on Nebarami Mayanja. Now when you take that road of Nebarami Mayanja, it leads you to Donagarabi, and that is the route the Kabaka of Uganda used. Now I'm a born of Katare Busawura. And when you move from Seguku, Katare, Busawura, some call it Katare. That place is not called Katare. It is called Katare, Busawura. Now, when you take that route, it takes you all the way to Nagarabi, the crowning place of kings of Uganda. We want to thank the Lord. First, for the life is given to the Kabaka of Uganda, but also the developments that Uganda has seen. Why am I saying so? Since the Kabaka sitting on the throne of Uganda, so many developments have happened in Uganda.
Indeed.
And Uganda has restored its position to be the strongest kingdom in Uganda that it was before.
Indeed. And on that note, we also thank President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for allowing Ugandans celebrate their cultures. That is, after Obote had diminished and dismissed culture in Uganda, of course, even with the Buganda saga in there, 1993 allowed Buganda have her Kabaka back on the throne.
Ng'onyumidde mu Gomesi.
Ondabye?
Nange omutega nsowera. Nagambye sijja guleka. N'engwenaanika. Kwe kunekaanika nakuno okwolaba olunaku olwayo. Naye ekinnaggayaza obaamu gye bayita Gomesi ekunyumidde.
Webale kusiima. Ayi Ssaabasajja ffe bazzukulu ba Mugema tukuyozaayoza. Now, looking at updates that we have this morning, US talk show host Oprah Winfrey says that the school for girls that she launched in South Africa nearly 20 years will close next year. At the end of 2027 academic year, the expansive boarding school campus near Johannesburg is to be handed over to local education authorities as per the original agreement, her statement said. Students enrolled at Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for the girls who will not have graduated when it closes will be offered full scholarships elsewhere. More than 1,000 girls have graduated from the school aimed at those from underprivileged backgrounds and inspired after Winfrey met anti-apartheid icon and former South African President Nelson Mandela in 2002. Hundreds of migrants have entered Spain's North African enclave of Ceuta from Morocco over the past week, the territory's leader says. Juan Jesus Vivar said the influx is overwhelming resources and urged the Spanish government to intervene. Spain's Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska is expected to visit on Friday, according to news agency Reuters. Footage showed migrants swimming and using inflatable rings and other flotation devices to swim to Ceuta on Thursday, while others ran through a gate in the border fence. And 15 elephants found dead in southern Kenya outside the Amboseli National Park, suspected to have been poisoned by eating tomatoes that had been sprayed with pesticides on nearby farms. The Kenya Wildlife Service says preliminary laboratory tests found cyanide in samples taken from the animals' carcasses. 10 of the elephants had been found with signs of paralysis and then died within 2 days. The other 5 elephants were already dead by the time they were discovered. And finally, near 10,000 people have died in connection with high temperatures in Germany this year, more than in any full year since 2016. According to estimates from the Robert Koch Institute, the institute estimated 9,800 heat-related deaths between the beginning of April and July 19th. The previous highest annual figure of the past decade was around 9,000. That was in 2018. That brings us to the updates that we have this morning. Quick updates that are definitely coming through, but it's also an opportunity for us to give you the rest of the updates from the local scene to the foreign scene onto the dailies this morning. Robert, what do we have this morning? And before we even get to what we have this morning, it's good to have you back.
Well, I glorify the Lord.
How do you feel?
Much better.
Glory to God.
Much better.
Always an honor doing this with you.
Now, let's look at our local scene, beginning with President Museveni has called for stronger collaboration between Uganda and the United Kingdom in public health, pharmaceutical manufacturing and medical research, meeting a British delegation at State House Entebbe. The president said disease prevention remains Uganda's most effective and affordable health strategy, citing immunization, proper nutrition, safe water, hygiene and behavioral change as key interventions. He noted that while Uganda has made significant progress against communicable diseases, attention is now shifting to non-communicable illnesses such as cancer, diabetes and hypertension. President Museveni also urged British pharmaceutical companies to invest in Uganda, saying the country offers opportunity for vaccine and medicine production. He highlighted ongoing research into traditional medicine and called for partnerships to support commercial production through investment, technology, and patent development. The visiting delegation, led by Uganda's High Commissioner to United Kingdom, Her Excellency Nishimad Madivani, included Chair of the UK All-Party Parliamentary Group, Honourable Bessie Cooper, and members of the Ugandan diaspora working in Britain's health sector. Honourable Cooper commended Uganda's handling of recent disease outbreak and pledged to encourage British pharmaceutical firms to explore investment opportunities in Uganda, particularly in medicines and vaccine manufacturing. She also said the UK could learn from Uganda's preventive approach to public health. At the High Court Criminal Division in Kampala, only the accused Haj Obedi Rutale and Captain Ola Oyer Dennis appeared before court, although retired Dr. Kiza Vesige was expected to appear in court yesterday. He was absent. However, prison authorities presented Judge Emmanuel Baguma with a letter explaining the accused's health condition. Prosecution requested court to proceed with the hearing in the absence of Dr. Kiza Vesige. The request was opposed by State Brief Counsel Livia Namwanje on grounds that proceeding in the absence of the accused could violate his right to fair hearing and that some defense lawyers were also absent from court. During the same court session, accused Haj Obed Rutale expressed concern over what he described as being forcefully presented by state bailiff lawyers. In response, Judge Emmanuel Baguma had this to say. In his ruling, Judge Emmanuel Baguma directed prison authorities to present a detailed medical report on the health status of Dr. Kizza Besigye before the next court session. Court also ordered all state bailiff lawyers to be present at the next hearing scheduled for 4th August 2026. Due to the absence of Dr. Kizza Besigye, the hearing of the case could not proceed. On Wednesday, Dr. Besigye collapsed in court while protesting the trial, arguing that it was unfair and infringed on his constitutional rights. The prosecution yesterday presented its first witness, Andrew Wilson Orlando, an American investor and investigator. Besigye's co-accused, Haj Obed Rutale and Captain Ola Oya Dennis, were further remanded to Luzira Government Prison in a separate development. The High Court Criminal Division, presided over by Judge David Matovu, declined to grant bail to lawyer Elias Lukwago. In rejecting the bail application, the court ruled that the accused had failed to demonstrate that his alleged deteriorating health condition could not be adequately managed by prison authorities. Court further observed that although Mulago National Referral Hospital had recommended that the accused receives further treatment from his primary specialist doctor in India, the recommendation was not supported by a medical report from Luzira Prison Health Facility. For this, the other reason, Judge David Matovu directed the Deputy Registrar of the High Court Criminal Division, where the accused was committed for trial, to allocate the case file to a trial judge so that the matter can be heard as early as possible. Lawyer Elias Lukwago's legal team also outlined to UBC TV the next legal steps they intended to take following the court's ruling. Elias Lukwago, who appeared before the High Court Criminal Division in Kampala, is charged with 1 count of misprision of treason and is awaiting plea before a judge to be assigned by the Deputy Registrar. The head of the Royal Sabarangira, the head of the royal family, Sabarangira Frederick Katerega, Sunday, called upon all Uganda and well-wishers to turn up in large numbers for the 32nd coronation anniversary celebration of Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II, scheduled for today, the 31st of July, at Watoto Church, Bweyogerere. He said the celebration will not only commemorate the Kabaka's reign, but also promote unity, respect, and development within the kingdom. During a royal family preparatory meeting held ahead of the anniversary celebrations, which brought together members of the royal family to finalize arrangements for the event expected to attract kingdom officials, government representatives, and thousands of subjects. Sabarangira Frederick Katerega Sunday, the head of the royal family, called upon all Uganda and well-wishers to attend. Speaking at the meeting, the senior presidential special envoy on Uganda affairs, Joseph Sewava, reaffirmed President Museveni's commitment to working closely with the Uganda kingdom. He further called upon members of the royal family to spread awareness of government programs, including the parish development model and the presidential skilling initiative. The Parliamentary Committee on Trade and Tourism, chaired by Kole South Member of Parliament Boniface Okot, informed the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development of the financial challenges stifling the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, including the long processes to access its own generated non-tax revenue. This, according to the committee, has frustrated business, especially in SMEs. In the recent budgeting system, all non-tax revenue is channeled to a consolidated fund of which it's Parliament to approve its spending. The turnaround time is said to be long and delays the value chain when it comes to certification of products by the body. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, represented by its Minister Henry Musasizi, hints at a process to include UNBS among the key protected votes to access its release instantly to avoid frustrating clients. Musasizi objects the proposal to allow UNBS to spend its non-tax revenue on sources without a proper channel. For the last 5 years, UNBS non-tax revenue collection has grown from 60.74 billion to 87.68 billion. But UNBS takes almost a year to respond to requests for certification. The decentralization efforts by the UNBS service has also been questioned whether it could be a savior. And with that story, we come to the end of our local news. Awangale Aisabasajja, one of the stories calling upon all Baganda and well-wishers of Uganda to be at Watoto Church Bweyogerere. Now, when we call upon all Baganda, we call upon all people in Uganda. Yes. Very true indeed.
Now, let's move on to what the foreign scene has. And we're starting off with matters FIFA and UEFA. As it is, we've lately seen the FIFA president and Donald Trump in a sort of good relationship. But it might not just be for the cameras, because as businessmen, sometimes business conversations go on, and European football's 55 member associations have voted to boycott World Cups if the sports governing body proceeds with a plan to sell stakes in its competitions to private investors. The decision was made at an emergency meeting called to discuss the proposal announced earlier this week by FIFA, which oversees world football. CONCACAF, which governs football in North and Central America and hosted this year's World Cup, said its 41 member associations have rejected the proposal made by FIFA President Gianni Infantino after it met on Thursday. Sources say CONCACAF nations are also losing faith in Infantino. UEFA, which governs European football, had already made its opposition clear by releasing two damning statements, and that strength of feeling has been reaffirmed. The World Cup cannot be treated as an investment product, it said on Thursday. It is one of football's greatest sporting legacies. It has been built over generations by players, national teams, and supporters across every continent. No part of it should ever be surrendered to private investors. The World Cup is not for sale. UEFA's boycott would cover all FIFA competitions, including the Men's and Women's World Cups and Club World Cup, and be triggered if FIFA President Gianni Infantino's proposals are voted through by member associations. The first time this stance will be tested at a senior tournament is in October, when the Women's World Cup playoffs are due to be held. All right, now let's move on to the next story to look into, especially for you who is an innovator of technology. The European Commission on Thursday announced a call for tenders designed to generate over 30 billion euros, that's about $34 billion, in state and private funding for the construction of 7 so-called AI gigafactories to boost the European Union's computing independence. Of the funds, 10 billion euros will come from the EU and member states, while private investors put up the remaining $20 billion. The funds are to be collected and distributed by the European High Performance Computing Joint Undertaking, which was launched in 2020 to develop a world-class supercomputing ecosystem by pooling the resources of the European Union, European countries, and private partners. Consortia and special purpose vehicles made up of technology and cloud service providers, public entities, and investors are all eligible to apply for funding. Chip makers AMD, Nvidia, and Qualcomm have all signed letters of intent to provide chips to groups involved in the projects, according to the Commission. The Commission said the scheme will expand Europe's AI computing capacity and give startups, scale-ups, and as well as small and medium-sized enterprises, industry, academia, and public authorities to access infrastructure. Now, the Archbishop of Canterbury has renewed her commitment to a controversial 100 million pounds fund over the Church of England's role in the transatlantic slave trade. Dame Sarah Mullally was speaking on a visit to Cape Coast Castle in Ghana, where enslaved Africans were held before being trafficked to the Americas. She said touring the castle made her reflect on the crimes committed by the institution she leads. We played a part in the transatlantic slave trade. That is clear. Part of the Christian belief is in repentance, and it's about action. So we are putting in place action to support those communities that feel the legacy of the slave trade, she added. This is Dame Sarah's first pastoral visit to Africa since being installed as head of the Church of England at a ceremony in Canterbury Cathedral in March. Reparative justice has been one of the themes running through the Ghana leg of this trip. At Cape Coast Castle, which came under British control in the 1660s, Dame Sarah was shown dungeons where slaves were held and the so-called door of no return through which they were forced onto ships. The Archbishop said you can't help but be deeply moved by the horrific conditions that people were kept in and the way that they were treated. It completely throws you off balance and brings home the evil that was the transatlantic slavery. And that brings us to the end of what we have this morning on the global scene. Robert, let's quickly look at the headlines of the dailies that we have this morning, starting off with the New Vision.
Now, in the New Vision this morning, man nabbed over theft of 50 cars. Museveni, Somali president, discuss peace, regional stability, and there's a picture of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni there. Now, moving on, we have why you should not rely on default security systems only. And more stories are there in the New Vision. Let me now interest myself in the Daily Monitor. Power of LC1 stamp. I saw one rejoicing. I'm now a chairman LC1. I'm the one to sign for someone to get a loan. You know, he was very excited down there. And our return, our promise. Well, the Daily Monitor concentrates so much. Museveni's ministers hit the ground running and schools complain over new trip rules. What are those rules? Well, in the Monitor this morning. Back to you, Julie.
Right. It's good to see the Monitor back and serving the nation. Now, let's have a look at what the Citizen has this morning, or the Daily Nation rather. Ruto's roadmap, that is representing Kenya. Ruto's roadmap. What does it look like? That is in the Daily Nation. And Dr. murdered in a taxi, had earlier fled from gunman. And ex-minister claims president is too controlling. That is a very interesting one to look into. And Kalonzo Sifuna 2027 talks begin. That is what we have in the dailies this morning. Now let's have a short break. When we get back, we're having a conversation to look into this whole concept of content creation. That is being a content creator. But before we even do that, let's sift through quickly into the Gazette as of the 31st of July 2026. Table of contents there, but policy direction concerning the waiver of requirements for ERA, permits for the feasibility studies for the development of Kiba, Ayago and Oriang hydropower projects and their associated evacuation infrastructure. is one to read into, rather lengthy but very important, looking at the preamble and policy direction. It's what the Gazette carries as a headline this morning. On that note, let's have a short break. We'll be right back to have a conversation on content creation and its value addition therein. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning.
Antonio, Robert, good morning.
Good morning, Judy. Wasuze otya?
Nasuze bulungi ssebo, wasuze otya ssebo?
Nga mbuganye essanyu olw'okuba olwaleero Ssaabasajja Kabaka wa Buganda, empologoma ya Buganda, Cuucu, Bemba, Nantawe Twamusota aweza emyaka 33 ng'alamula Obuganda ng'atudde ku Namulondo y'abajjajja. Today marks 33 years of the Kabaka of Buganda on the throne of his great parents. 33 years ago, on such a day, Uganda, Buganda was filled with untold joy. Streets leading to Budonagarabi. Hundreds, thousands of people filled these streets. I was a very young boy, but I remember my father carrying me on the shoulder, because you're on that road that goes to Nagarabi. Actually today, if you take Entebbe Road, before you reach Madme, you know Madme?
Yes.
You see something written on Nebaramye Mayanja. Now, when you take that road of Nebaramye Mayanja, it leads you to Donagarabi, and that is the route the Kabaka of Buganda used. Now, I'm a born of Katare Busawura, and when you move from the Seguku, Katare Busawura, some call it Katare. That place is not called Katare. It is called Katare Busawura. Now, when you take that route, it takes you all the way to Nagarabi, the crowning place of kings of Buganda. We want to thank the Lord. First, for the life He's given to the Kabaka of Buganda, but also the developments that Buganda has seen. Why am I saying so? Since the Kabaka sitting on the throne of Buganda, so many developments have happened in Buganda.
Indeed.
And Buganda has restored its position to be the strongest kingdom in Uganda that it was before.
Indeed. And on that note, we also thank President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for allowing Ugandans celebrate their cultures. That is, after Obote had diminished and dismissed culture in Uganda, of course, even with the Buganda saga in there, 1993 allowed Buganda have her Kabaka back on the throne.
Ng'onyumidde mu gomesi.
Ondabye?
Nange omutega nsowera. Nagambye sijja guleka. Ne ngwenaanika. Kwe kunekaanika na kuno okwolaba olunaku olwayo. Naye ekinnaggayaza obaamu gye bayita gomesi ekunyumidde.
Webale kusiima. Ayi Ssaabasajja ffe bazzukulu ba Mugema tukuyozaayoza. Now, looking at updates that we have this morning, US talk show host Oprah Winfrey says that the school for girls that she launched in South Africa nearly 20 years will close next year. At the end of 2027 academic year, the expansive boarding school campus near Johannesburg is to be handed over to local education authorities as per the original agreement.